Good morning, everybody. Good morning, everybody. Gotta give God some praises and worship Him. I was trying to get my thoughts together, and I was just like thinking of the goodness of God and how sometimes you just want it to be all about Him. But when you start listening to the words of the gospel songs and they start ministering to your heart, because when your heart starts to be transformed, you can feel it. So I was just thanking God this morning that He is letting me feel again. Because my heart was stony and cold. And some people won't realize it, but when you get in the wilderness, you start acting like people, places, and things because you start adapting to your environment. Now I understand why God, He had to have this pandemic happen. I know we lost some people, I know, but they were part of the sacrifice. God is calling for your hearts to be right, for your minds to be right, for everything that's in you to be right, to walk upright, because how can you be in the world and be called God's people but don't possess anything? How can you not even be able to heal the sick? God is making you so sensitive to His Spirit. If you only would just hearken unto His voice. He said when you hearken unto Him, that He will have to come and do whatever you need to do. But as I let the gospel songs minister to my heart, and I think about everything that I've been through, but God said, I'm not done with you yet. He should have been took me out a long time ago. But He said, hey, I'm not done with you yet. This relationship with God has to be real. Because if it ain't real, then what is it? People say all these things, but it's not what you say out your mouth. It's what you do to make a change and a difference. And that's what God's been showing me. That we all want to be in the front of this, front of the thing, the front of the people. But what are you showing the people? What are you doing? Because if you read the Bible and you really understood the Bible, God didn't care about all the extra stuff. He cared about His people and healing them and caring for them. He didn't even have to prove who He was. The proof was in the pudding of who He was. He had His Son Jesus die for us so He can, sorry, He's had His Son Jesus die for us, right? So He can align and understand with us. So He won't kill us just like He was in the Old Testament. He said, I wanted to feel you. I wanted to feel your pain, to see what you have to go through. He's like, I gave you an outlet. I can understand you. I can feel you because I sent my Son, Jesus Christ, for you. And I'm just crying because if you lost anyone, it wasn't because you wanted to lose them. It's because they had to leave. And it's crazy because who in this world will say, I'm going to give my son for you? And I was just thinking about the love that He had for us. And we take it for granted because of all the things that we was taught, all the things that we have been, people said to us and said that you don't matter. And God is saying you mattered from the time that you were in your mom's womb, the time that I made you who you are, the time that I named you. He named you. Yes, he gave the names to the parents, but he called you what he wanted to call you before you was even in your mom's womb. And it's crazy because we don't even know who we are or whose we are. It's the relationship in God that he wants from you. I'm telling you, because I can know the word. You can know the word. But if you don't apply it to your life, because in the word, in the Bible, is relationship. You can read it, but it is relationship and it is love. Love. He's trying to give you a love that you never felt before. He's trying to give you a love that that you don't even understand. When I thought about it, when I woke up this morning, I said, God, you really do love me, huh? You love me. And he loves you. He loves all of us. He gave his only son for us. Just so he can align and understand that, so he can really have a relationship with us. I was in the world and I tried everything that I could possibly think of to fill every void that was in my life. And I kept doubling back to it because it didn't seem real. At the end, I'm like, I know it should go this way. I had a sense of it, but it wasn't real. And I stayed in stuff that I should have never been in. I did. Because I was hurting and I was in pain. And I would ask God to take the pain away, take the thing away from me, but he would never do it because it wasn't the thing, it was me. I was the problem because went in places that I knew I shouldn't have been in, and I still believed in God. So you could be a believer and do things that you know that you shouldn't be doing. But God said, if you made your bed in heaven, he said, I'll be right there with you. If you made your bed in heaven, if you made your bed in hell, I'm sorry. I'll be right there. If you made your bed in heaven, I'll be right there. It wasn't until I learned my works don't mean anything if my heart isn't in it. If I don't have a relationship with God. So you could do all the works in the church. You could do in the building because he said that you are the church. So you could do everything that you think that you're supposed to do and still not make it into heaven. But what I love about God is he said, if you made your bed in hell, I'll be right there with you. I'll be right there with you. Who gonna be in hell with you? Who? It's like when you let the words of the Bible minister to your heart. But then look, because I know how many times we probably read the word, but it never penetrated. Because it didn't penetrate because we had so many things that was in our heart that was keeping us from the word of God. The word that is trying to save your life, trying to help you. What are some things or some people that are trying to help you, but you misuse the help? I said, God, I don't want to misuse you anymore. I don't want to misuse the help anymore. God, I just want to be free. This last run, I was like, God, my heart isn't right. I felt it. I was like, I don't even know what's wrong with me. There's things that I think that I know ain't right. There's things in my heart that I know have to come out. But it isn't my fault. But it was my fault because I start reacting to the things that I felt calling myself a believer, but not acting like him, not acting Christ-like. It's crazy because we go through life and we pick on other people's habits, and we are born into sin, and these people are not saved, but they say they are believers, and they teach us certain things that we carry along with us. And then at some point in life, we figure out that that's not the way. It's not the way, but it's a taught behavior. It's a learned behavior. But sometimes when you get so into your dysfunctional ways and your traditional ways, it's like you can't even stop it. But I had to break the curse that was over my life because I want to be better in God. He didn't bring us this far to not love, to not be kind, to not be understanding to the people that we call our blood. It's a hard thing. It goes from the inside on out. I ain't perfect. We ain't perfect, but in God, when you're striving to be the best, all them things are gonna fall off. All the chains are gonna fall off. All the things that we thought is gonna fall off because He is showing us the truth, the light. He is the light unto our path. He said, you can't be hidden by a bush. And the earth is there for us. Who have you become that you are not proud to be? I'm telling you, I don't know why. I started thinking, I'm like, dang, my daughters have to look up to me. And God started showing me and my kids. I put my pain on them. I put my hurt on them. So when they reflected it back to me, it was like, why? But God started showing me them, me and them, all four of them. I was just like, God, I want to be saved for real. I want to love for real. But I got to learn how to receive it. We want these things, but we don't know how to do it. And God is the answer to show you how to do the things that we don't even know how to do. He is the answer. He is the key. So unlock your keys. Unlock them. Unlock them. I'm only telling you this because of how I've been living. It blows my mind. Just sit in the presence of God and allow God to minister to you and let Him direct your path. I know it seems like it's unknown. I know that it seems like it ain't gonna work, but let Him show you how. I had me and my 4 problems to deal with, but God. That's all I can say is, but God. Didn't even know how to love, but God. But God. I wanted to. I said it, I love you, but it didn't mean nothing because my actions didn't follow through with it. I knew how to say the word, but when it came to my actions, God started showing me myself. And I hated the version of me that I created, not God created, but I created it. I hated that person because it wasn't who God wanted me to be. It was a watered down version of who God said I was supposed to be. But because I didn't want to feel, because I didn't want to be vulnerable, it was another version of me that I tried to have a persona of. But I'm telling you, when you start getting your heart right, and you start letting God really minister and penetrate your heart, He said, I'll give you all the things. The things is not what I want. You can have all these things. I seen people that I love and I care for, but I could never express it that much because I couldn't even love and care for myself because of situations that I put myself in. I seen it. I seen people that I love get buried with nothing but the shell, their flesh, and the clothes that they had on their backs because somebody had to dress them. You can keep going after stuff and the things. God said, I will give you those things. I will give you those things. But I need your heart. As I sit here and I have ministered to my heart, it's just like he can keep blowing my mind. I don't care. Even though it may look like, because I am the bling queen. It's God created, not me. I just like it. I just like it. But I remember the little girl who had to create from nothing. I remember her. I remember some things about me that nobody knows. But it's been God who's been carrying me. People want to know about me. Just ask God. If he wants you to know, he'll let you know about me. But I thank God every day for sitting my little butt down and making me think about the things that really, really mattered to me. But I could not, and I couldn't understand why these things was happening to me and my children. But he got my attention because I love my kids with all my heart. But you can love somebody with all your heart, but not know how to love them. And I'm going to leave you with that. What is God telling you to do? What do he want from you? Just listen to him because he has the answer to your life. The stuff will come. He showed me this. He showed me this a long time ago. That's why I never cared about this stuff. The only thing I asked God was, I said, God, let me be able to provide for my children. I didn't ever ask to be rich. I never asked to be any of those things. I'm not rich. But I'm wealthy in him. He is God over everything. I can tell you one thing. He always makes a way for me and my children. He does. The stuff just comes. He said, I'll make you a blessing of the earth, in the earth. I never had to worry about certain things after a certain limit. After I knew my relationship with God, I always had a relationship since I was younger. I didn't know what it was. I ran from God because I was scared of his voice. But as I get older, I'm like, it's his voice that mattered to me. We struggle because we don't know who we are in God. But if you just take time out to talk to him and tell him what you need, even though he already know what you need, just take time out and just talk to him. And I bet you your life will change. It will start changing. It will. I remember being that little girl and I said, God, please don't let my mom go to jail. That was the first things I said out of my mouth because of something that was happening at that time. She went to jail, but she came back that same night. And she should have been in there longer, but it was nobody but God. Please, God, don't let me and my sister have to be put away in the system. I remember stuff that God starts showing me because it was the hurt and it was the pain that created your path. But God wants your heart. I'm telling you, He wants your heart. He wants your heart. Once you get your heart right, He said, eyes haven't seen, ears haven't heard, either has it entered into the hearts of man what He is going to do for you. People think it's money, but the money is going to change. The currency is going to change. The dollar value is going to change, and then what it is going to be. He always put me around people, places, and things. And sometimes I don't even know. But then He'll start telling me, Shantae, this person does this. Shantae, this person is this. Shantae, that person. And I'll be like, me? He about to put you in places that you didn't even think of. We're trying to do it in our natural selves. But God already said He's going to do it. But all He needs to do, all He wants is your heart. Why do we want to do things the hard way when God just wants our heart? So I'm going to leave you with this. Be blessed. I'm telling you, be blessed. Take it one day at a time. I remember Bishop saying it. 1 second at a time, 1 minute at a time, 1 hour at a time, 1 day. Write your vision down. Make it plain. But first of all, and then most of all, get your heart right. Get your heart right. I know you don't know how to do it, because I know when the process started with me, I didn't know how to do it. I didn't know how to do it. I really didn't. I was like, God, I don't know how to do this. This feels weird to me. But He started showing me. He started giving me the tools and the keys to get my heart right. So I'm telling you, get your heart right with God. And watch all the doors that you wanted to open is going to open. Watch your creativity start to work for you. You only working in the capacity that you're working in. But God said once you get your heart right and you get your relationship right with me, eyes haven't seen, ears haven't heard, either has it entered into the hearts of man what I'm going to do for you. What do you want? That God's blessing or your blessing? Don't pick your blessing, please.